raised since the passing of this ordinance, and I do want to thank every single person who has come to share their concerns, their thoughts on this, their support for it. Even tonight, we still learn some new information. That would be the council, and that would be also our citizens have learned some new things from those who spoke during persons to be heard. I have deliberated, personally have lost sleep over this, much prayer, because as a council person, and when I was asked to, when I was elected to take this seat back in 2001, a concern of mine was always to be here to represent the city, all citizens, no matter what the age is, and try to do it in a balanced way to help the community, not only now, but in the future. Whatever we do, it's going to affect the future. And in talking with many people in other cities and citizens of both homeschoolers as well as in the school district, it's been a very difficult dilemma, because I have to look at, as I said earlier, many of you that are here now, you weren't here in the work session. I wish you had been, because there was a lot of information given at that time. And some key things that popped out at me was that this is not just high school. This is elementary school as well, which I found that, I don't know if you gentlemen found that a little concerning, but that truancy is affecting all ages, elementary, junior high, and high school. We heard some really compelling positive things that they are seeing in the school district because of this ordinance being passed. And they did say that they wanted to make this a continued partnership and a unified front to educate our children and to protect our society long term as they grow up and as they become adults. And so, pardon me while I kind of get my notes here a little bit together. One thing before I move to the final aspect is, another reason I put this on here is I was very concerned about our young people having fear. Fear has been used a lot over the last 5 months. When I did daycare for 17 years, I was registered by the state of Texas. Many of you don't know that, some may realize that. The reason I'm sitting in this chair is the city of Bedford was considering an ordinance against homeschoolers and in-home daycare. And I happen to live across the street of a homeschooler and a registered in-home provider such as myself. We were alerted by another council member that an ordinance was going to restrict us, wanted to put our gates and where our locks were and all these restrictive things, and also kind of expose our properties. And we had concerns about safety, that information being public, hurting, our young charges that we took care of. As I shared with the Purnells, they were gracious to visit with me last night on the phone. We got together. We only picked 3 people. We each spoke on a key part, but we never said the same thing. And we petitioned the council at that time to consider what would be best for the community, as well as what would be best. We were already regulated by the state of Texas, homeschoolers as well as in-home daycare. And the reason I'm telling you this story is the process works. We are not here to harm anybody. We are here to protect. And safety was a big key word this evening. Of course, every time we hear from the school district, they bring out another point that was not brought out the first time. And I really appreciate that, because now that helps us a little bit more with why we did pass this to begin with. The other concern is, I really want you homeschoolers to realize, please don't. I don't want your children to be in fear. And I think tonight it was really strong in the fact that fear should not be their concern when they go out in public. And the police are there to protect them and not to harm them in any way. The other component, and the reason I wanted to bring this up, was that when we were elected, and I said this earlier in the work session, we were elected to take care of basic services, streets, sewer, police, fire, and protection. And we were not a part of educating. And I mentioned that to the school district representatives. But they also asked for us to continue to partner with them in making this community strong by protecting the children and the students, as well as helping them be able to educate them. And I have to say that at this point, I was going to ask for us to maybe consider rescinding it, but after hearing all the facts this evening and the ramifications that it's broadening from the youngest children all the way to high school, that we would probably be a disservice to rescind it at this point in time. So, but it's open for discussion, and if anybody else has anything to say,
Okay.
I'm open.
Well,